Yesterday, in a quiet little cafe, I witnessed something that revealed more about attraction than 1,000 books ever could. A young man, maybe 25, tall, well-groomed, dressed with care, sat across from a girl who clearly mattered to him. He leaned forward, eyes locked on her, giving her his full attention. For 37 minutes I watched him try everything: compliments, polite smiles, carefully rehearsed stories he thought were charming. And yet, nothing worked. She was polite, but unmoved. He thought he was doing everything right. He wasn't. That man is not alone. That man is you, because 99% of men fall into the same trap, following a script they've been programmed since childhood to believe would win women over, a script that makes them invisible, forgettable. Here's the cruel truth: most men will never escape it. Why? Because every man believes he is different. He thinks kindness, respect, good clothes, or even a good sense of humor will earn him a different outcome. But reality doesn't bend to belief. If your mindset is wrong, everything else fails. You can wear the best suit, drive the fastest car, tell the funniest jokes, and still lose. It's like trying to run Windows software on a Mac. No matter how advanced the program, it won't work on the wrong system. That's you, running the wrong code every time you deal with women. So let me ask you, how many times have you had that magical conversation where everything felt effortless, only for her to disappear without a trace? How many times did you follow the book perfectly, yet end up with nothing? Ideal man, only to watch her walk away with someone who did not even try? That is not bad luck. That is not destiny. That is mathematics. That is psychology. That is the cruel outcome of playing a game without even knowing the rules exist. I remember when I was 20. That was the night I discovered a truth so brutal it shattered me. I was at a party, standing quietly in the corner. My shirt was perfect, my hair neat, my manners polished, my posture flawless. And yet I was invisible. No one saw me. I was a ghost. Then there was Alex. Alex was the opposite of me. He was not handsome. He was broke. He wore clothes that looked like they had been stolen from a stranger's closet. And yet, 3 women were fighting for his attention while I stood there with my perfect smile and perfect silence, asking myself, what the hell is happening? That night, I witnessed something that would take me years to understand fully. The cold truth. Women are not drawn to your resume. They do not fall in love with your politeness, your effort, your desperation. In fact, the more you want them, the less they want you. It is reverse mathematics. The harder you try, the faster you fail. And here's why. Attraction is not rational. It cannot be solved logically like an equation. Men fail 98% of the time because they try to fix an emotional game with rational solutions. Think back to your childhood. The software running your mind was installed when you were just 5 years old. Your mother told you, be nice to girls. Your teacher said, respect the ladies. Society whispered, happy wife, happy life. But none of that has anything to do with attraction. Instead, you were trained to become exactly what women secretly do not want. A loyal golden retriever, predictable, obedient, eager to please. What they truly crave is something else entirely. They want a wolf, not a cruel wolf, not a raging wolf, but a wolf nonetheless. A man who is autonomous, unpredictable, independent. A man who owns himself, his reality, his presence. This truth reveals itself in what I call polarity points. Tiny moments in every interaction where you either raise or lower emotional tension. Most men are terrified of these moments. She grows restless. You make a joke to calm her. She challenges you. You submit to avoid conflict. She tests you. And instead of standing tall, you try harder to please her. But here is the secret. Comfort is the enemy of desire. Predictability is the death of attraction. When was the last time you were excited by something entirely predictable? When was the last time a movie with no conflict kept you glued to the screen? Never. Because humans, and women especially, are wired for emotional intensity. They need challenge, mystery, tension, push and pull. But you show up like an instruction manual. Page 1, I like you. Page 2, I'll do anything for you. Page 3, please choose me. And the ending, boring, forgettable. Do not misunderstand me. I'm not saying you must be cruel or disrespectful. Only fools believe that women want jerks. The truth is more subtle. Women are not attracted to bad men. They are attracted to independent men. Men who live in their own world, who do not bend for approval, who own their choices. Men who have the courage to be wolves, not puppies, collapse just because a pretty face appears. Ironically, the bad boy often has these qualities only because he does not care about anything, but you can have them too without losing your decency. And that is the perfect combination. Here is a practical example. You meet a woman online, she is stunning. Your instinct, write something witty, something clever, something that proves you are unique. You have already lost. Why? Because your entire approach depends on her reaction. You are not expressing yourself. You are performing. You are not speaking. You are auditioning. And she can smell it like a shark smells blood in the water. So what do? You write what makes you laugh. You write what entertains you. You act as if you had 10 other options, and this is just one more conversation. That energy, that self-amusement, that groundedness is what breaks the noise. That is what makes her stop and pay attention. This is where most men fail. Even when they understand this idea, they still try to fake it. They pretend not to care while caring desperately inside. They feel beta, but try to act alpha. Pay attention. Women have been watching male behavior since they were teenagers. They have observed every word, every trick, every move men make. They are authentic by nature, and their radar is sharper than a lie detector. You cannot fake it. You must become it. Let me share a story with you. About 3 years ago, I met a woman, the kind that makes you reorganize your entire day just for the chance to see her again. We were talking. Everything was flowing perfectly until she said something I strongly disagreed with. The old me would have nodded along, smiled, and stayed polite. But this time, I looked her in the eye and said, "That is the most ridiculous thing I have heard all day." This morning, I spoke to my neighbor. She believes birds are government spies. She looked at me shocked. Then she laughed. Then she leaned in with curiosity. Why? Because every other man had agreed with everything she said. I was the first one to treat her like a normal human being instead of a goddess on a pedestal. You see, when you elevate a woman too high, you force her to look down on you. It is physics, it is geometry. She cannot respect someone who worships her because worship creates inequality. And women cannot feel attraction without challenge. It is biological, just like you cannot feel desire for someone you are not physically drawn to. She cannot feel desire for someone who has erased all tension. And here is the biggest mistake men make. They think attraction is addition. Add more compliments, add more dates, add more attention, add more availability. Number attraction is subtraction. Subtract your constant presence. Subtract your need for instant replies, because the space you create is where desire begins. The empty space is what pulls her in. Think about your phone right now. If someone always replies instantly, is always available, always saying yes, how valuable are their messages to you? Not valuable at all, because what is always accessible is worthless. It is pure economic supply and dear demand. You flooded the market with yourself. You killed the scarcity. But when someone replies sometimes, disappears other times, shows interest one moment, and withdraws the next, suddenly you are staring at your phone, wondering what they are doing, why they have not answered, what is going on in their world. That is the position you must be in, not the other way around. And here is what will happen to most men watching this video. They will agree with everything I just said. It will make perfect sense. You can take all the notes you want, but when you wake up tomorrow, your old programming will take control. The nice guy protocol will activate. You will do what you have always done, because changing this requires more than understanding. It requires practice, failure, feeling. It requires reconditioning. I went through this myself when I first started interacting with women. I failed beautifully with this new perspective. I overcorrected. I went from too nice to completely indifferent, from too available to disappearing completely, from too polite to unnecessarily confrontational. It probably took me 100 interactions before I finally found balance. But here is what I discovered. Even my mistakes were more attractive than my old perfect behavior. Even while I was stumbling, even while I was getting it wrong, women were more interested in me than when I was being the nice guy. Everything shifted. Do you want to know when I finally understood this? I was on a date with a stunning woman, the kind other men stop and stare at. And halfway through the date, I realized something. I was bored. She was beautiful, but not interesting. And instead of pretending, instead of faking enthusiasm just because she was attractive, I told her, "You are gorgeous, but this conversation is putting me to sleep. I'm going home. Netflix will be more interesting." And I left. Do you know what happened? She called me that night. The next day, this woman who had men chasing her for years was suddenly chasing me. Not because I used a technique, not because I was playing a game, but because I genuinely valued my time and my attention more than her beauty. That is the real power, that is the real frame. And most men do not understand this. It is not about being cruel. It is not about being dismissive. It is about having standards that go beyond physical beauty. It is about being truly ready to walk away if those standards are not met. Most men only have one standard. Is she attractive? That is like buying a car only because it looks nice without ever checking if the engine works. You are setting yourself up for disaster. Let me explain what really happens inside a woman's mind when she meets a nice guy. He is sweet. He compliments her. He agrees with everything she says. He tries to impress her, and unconsciously she concludes, "This man is beneath me. He needs me more than I need him. He is safe, and therefore he is boring. He is forgettable." But a man who understands he is not overly eager. He is friendly, but he teases her. Sometimes he is available, sometimes not. He disapproves when he needs to. He is more concerned with entertaining himself than trying to impress her. And her unconscious mind feels it. In short, she feels he is on my level or above it. He has options. He is unpredictable. He is intriguing. He is unforgettable. Do you see the difference? This is not about acting foolish. It is about being a man with a life of his own thoughts, his own standards, and an identity strong enough to hold the moment together when a beautiful woman appears. Now let us talk about one of the most feared topics by men, the friend zone. Every man fears it, but very few understand why it exists. Women place men in the friend zone when they feel no romantic respect for them. And how do you get there? By acting like a friend when you actually want to be a lover. You earn it by being nice, always available, and completely desexualized. You pretend from day one, hiding your desire behind fake friendship, and then act surprised when she feels nothing for you. Listen carefully. If you see a woman in romantic terms, she must know it, not through a dramatic confession 3 months later, but through your actions, your energy, your subtle flirtation from day one. Not through hidden intentions buried under the mask of friendship. Let me give you an example. Mike was a man I knew. He befriended every woman he admired. He became their emotional support, their assistant, their always available best friend. And then months later, he would confess his feelings. And every time he was rejected, and every time his heart was shattered, "But I was so nice to her," he would say. Exactly, that was the problem. You were nice, you were not attractive, you were not sexual, you were not emotionally charged, you were like a brother, a girlfriend, a pet. And being rude is not the solution. The solution begins here. Be attractive first, then be nice. Take the lead. Bring vitality into the interaction. Use compassion like a spice, not as the main dish. Be sexual, but never creepy. Be confident, but never arrogant. Be a challenge, but not impossible. This is a balance, but it can be learned. Here is a practical exercise. Next time you text a woman, pause before hitting send. Ask yourself, am I sending this to get a reaction from her? Or am I sending this because it entertains me? If it is the first, delete it. If it is the second, send it. This one simple filter will change the entire dynamic of your communication. Here is another practice. Disagree. Not with everything, not just to be difficult, but when you truly disagree, say it. No, I do not think so. That movie was awful. I see it differently. Start with small things. Instead of mirroring the opinions you think she wants to hear, express what you truly believe. And here is what will surprise you. The more politely you disagree, the more intrigued she becomes. Why? Because it shows strength. It shows you do not need her. It shows acceptance. It shows that you see her as an equal human being whose opinion can be wrong, not as a goddess whose words are sacred scripture. I remember a conversation from about a year ago. A girl told me she believed in astrology. The old me would have said, "Oh, that is cool. Tell me more." But instead I said, "Astrology is just organized birthday racism." She paused, and then she laughed. And then she spent the next hour trying to convince me otherwise. And we had a real dialogue with real energy instead of me nodding silently while she talked. That is the difference. But here is the real secret, the piece that changes everything. You must become a man who does not need a woman's approval. Do not act like that man. Become that man. How? By building a life that is genuinely fascinating. Have hobbies that fulfill you. Have goals that wake you up in the morning. Set rules that actually matter to you. When your life is full, when you are truly busy with things that are important to you, when you have real options, you stop trying to play hard to get. You are hard to get. You stop pretending to have standards. You actually have them. You stop faking confidence. You feel it because your life has given you a reason to be confident. Most men try to recruit women to fill the emptiness in their existence, and women can sense this emptiness the way animals sense earthquakes. They know consciously or not that you are using them as emotional crutches, as validation devices, as proof that you are worthy. And that pressure is too heavy, that responsibility is too much. So they run. Your life must be full. A woman should be a complement, not a necessity. She should be the cherry on top, not the entire cake. Because if she is your whole cake, what happens when she leaves? You are empty again. You are shattered again. And you are desperate again. Think of the men who are naturally magnetic to women. They are not always the richest, not always the best looking, but almost all of them are men whose lives are full, even without women. They have jobs, they have passions, they have friends, they have goals. Women are a part of their lives, not the center of them. And that is what makes them magnetic. That is what makes them attractive. That is what you must become. Now let us talk about the moment of truth. Whether in person or online, most men show up with the energy of a job interview. Please choose me. Here are my credentials. Stop showing up like a man begging to be chosen. Show up like a man who is offering an opportunity. I am fascinating. I am entertaining. If you are worthy, I may allow you into my life. Do you see the shift? It is not arrogance. It is not narcissism. It is simply knowing your value, believing that your time and your attention are important. If you do not believe that, why should she? This change in perspective transformed my life completely. Stop thinking about getting women. Start thinking about choosing women. You are not trying to earn the approval of every woman you meet. You are screening for women who meet your standards. This changes everything, your energy, your method, your entire dynamic. When you are the one choosing, rejection does not hurt. It is not personal. It is simply selection. She chose herself. Good. She saved you time. Move on. But when you are chasing, every rejection feels like failure. I had to learn this lesson the hard way. For years, I tried to persuade women to want me, performing, convincing, impressing, until I was exhausted. Then I switched to choosing. Is she interesting? Does she fit my lifestyle? Does she add value beyond her looks? Suddenly I had standards. Suddenly I was the prize. Suddenly everything shifted. But here is the part no one tells you at the beginning. This path is lonely when you stop seeking approval. When you stop being nice just to gain favor, you will lose people. The women who fed on your attention without giving anything back will vanish. The friends who loved your self-sacrifice will be confused. Your family might say, "You have become selfish." Good. Let them be confused. Let them talk. Because on the other side of this short, lonely season is something far better. Genuine attraction, real connection, women who choose you for who you are, not for what you do for them. Do you know what is tragic? Men in their 40s and 50s still running the same program they learned at 15, still trying to be nice as a strategy for attraction, and still wondering why they fail. Do. Not become that man. Make the change now. Yes, it is uncomfortable. Yes, it is terrifying. But it is more terrifying to stay the same. It is more terrifying to die with regret. Everything I'm telling you is true. It is simple but not easy. Simple because the ideas are clear. Not easy because you must reprogram decades of conditioning. Not easy because you must face rejection. Not easy because you must become someone new. And the world will resist it. Your friends will resist it. Your old self will resist it. But here is my promise to you. If you truly do this, if you change your perspective, if you practice what I have taught you, your entire world will change. Not just with women, but in every area of life. Because the confidence that comes from no longer needing validation, the strength that comes from having standards, the freedom that comes from being genuine, these things transform everything. This is your assignment, but here is the truth. 98% of men will never do it, and 98% will stay exactly where they are for the next 30 days, the next 30 years. Be the 2%. Practice one thing. Detach from the result. Approach women without clinging to the outcome. Do this and watch your entire reality change. Send messages that carry no need. Go on dates with no urgency. Just practice being present, being genuine, being satisfied with who you are. That is it. That is the key. That is the missing piece. That is what separates the 2% from everyone else. No magic lines, no tricks, no techniques, just the ability to stand as yourself alone and let women decide whether they want to join your world instead of you desperately trying to join theirs. Listen, I understand. This video has probably shattered everything you were taught to believe. Good. It should, because everything you have been taught has brought you here to a place you no longer want to be. So, the question is simple. Will you keep doing what has never worked? Or will you finally try something different? You have a choice. Scarlet button or blue button? Old results or new opportunities? Comfort or expansion? And deep down, you already know which one you will choose. You knew it before this video even ended. The only question is, when will you stop lying to yourself and finally act? That is all I have for you today. Take it or reject it. Use it or ignore it. But never say that no one told you the truth, because now you cannot escape it. Now you know.